Good morning and welcome to Thez Nutz Garage. Well, today we're working back on this 2014 Ford Fusion. My wife's backup camera started, she'd put it in reverse. The camera would actually flip around. When she put it back in drive or park, it would kind of freeze up the main screen in the car. And then it will say something about see a service dealer about fixing it. We took it to Ford. They want to charge $600 for this little backup camera right here. They said you didn't have to program it to the car. So what I did is I bought a used one off eBay for $80 because Ford wants $600. And I think that's a little ridiculous. So we're going to try to fix that this morning. So let's give it a shot. Alrighty, so here's the little backup camera that we're going to be replacing. I think in order to get to it, we have to remove this whole upper piece of the car here, this part here. So in order to get to that, we got to be able to access all the bolts to it, the nuts. On the side, I think we have two on each side right there, but this material here, this rear trunk lid cover, I guess, needs to come out. What's holding it in is basically, there's several of these little tabs. There's one there, I think there's one there. There's some up in here. So there's one here. And then we have the cover that goes on here, just pops off, which is right here. That just pops off. Then here's this cover, and it goes to the handle. It pops off on the inside. If you can see, there's two screws in there that you'll have to undo. And then I'm hoping this little inner trunk lid cover will come off. All right, now I've got this trunk rear deck lid, inner cover off, whatever we want to call it. I got it all sitting over here to the side. Basically, it just has these little plastic tabs, except for those two screws that I showed you earlier. And then here's this little tool I've been using to pop them off. You can get these at any auto parts store for probably nothing. Harbor Freight, AutoZone, everybody sells them. They're just interior panel removal tools. So that makes it a lot easier. All right, now that we're looking up here, we have a plug over here that we're gonna have to undo. I think we have several of them right here. And then up inside these holes, you can see we have some little nuts and bolts. There's 4 of them across this back. So I'm gonna have to take them off. And I believe I'm gonna take these 2 off on each side. So I'll get to working on that. And then we'll be able to remove that upper panel, or that outside panel. All right, so now I've removed the tail lights. Not the tail lights, but I guess the backup lights. There are 3 bolts in here. You got 1, 2, 3. Back up here, you had 1 on the outside edge, and then you have 1 back in here, sorry. So you got this one, and this one. I thought there was just 2 on the outside, but there's actually 3, 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside to remove the tail lights. What this does too is it lets me look at this piece and how this comes out. So when I take this piece out finally and bolt it, it'll just slide out. I removed the 4 bolts that were up in here, or the little nuts that were up in there. It's a 10mm nut, and then I got this little handy dandy ratchet, open end wrench or boxed end wrench, whatever. That made it a lot easier. And then those little nuts to this tail light are 11 millimeter. And just be careful when you're taking those out. You don't want to scratch up your paint. Just be gentle with everything. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you this. This is kind of a odd little angle, but just trying to show you where I'm at. See this white tab right there? It's hard to see, but I think there's two of them on the inside of this deck lid. I can't get my camera to focus on it. Well, there it is, right there. You got two of those, one on each side. You have to pinch that together and push that out. It's going to be probably difficult, probably with a pair of needle nose pliers or something. You can get in there with it and squeeze it and push it out. I just wanted to show you that because that right there is definitely gonna be something that you might overlook. You don't want to break those tabs either, so I'm gonna try to get those out real quick. All right, I just showed you those little white tabs. I've got one side out, and you see I've popped this loose. Being careful not to let it scratch the paint. What you have to do first is you just have to pull this piece up. Kind of hard to do with the phone in your hand. Pull that piece up and out, so that way I pull it up and out, and then that way it puts pressure. So when you squeeze that little white tab in there and push it out, it'll pop out. So undo that part first, and then you can get in there with a pair of needle nose and squeeze that together. And as you squeeze it, push it, like trying to push it back through the hole, and it should pop right out. Oh yeah, by the way, these edges are sharp. So be careful when you got your hands up in there trying to undo all this stuff, because you could slice your hand open pretty good. Probably the best thing to do is get you some mechanics gloves or something like that, and try to prevent from slicing your hand open. Just a warning. Okay, here is this little back panel that has the camera in it. Basically, I just pulled it out and I've kind of rolled it back. Got these wires that run through there. There's no sense of undoing all of that. But here you can see those clips that I was talking about on the inside that you have to, basically you just squeeze them together with a pair of pliers. Let me get a pair of pliers, I'll show you. Just squeeze them at the top. About right there. And as you're squeezing, just push in and it'll pop through. But here's what we got to remove. We have a Torx bit here, and here's a plug, and then this is the camera. So I'm gonna undo this plug. Try to be careful. But I'm gonna undo that, and then I can't do it one-handed. And I'll come right back. So I popped the camera out. The one here on the right is the new to me one, the used one. The one on the left is the one that supposedly broke. Like that. Like I said, this is for a 2014 Ford Fusion Titanium, but I do believe it'll work on any Fusion of that year. But there's that plug, and once the camera's in there, it goes in like this. If you want to, just when you finally take this little cover off right here, you just push it on the other side with your finger, and the camera just pops out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit my phone over here and do a time lapse of me putting it back together. So you didn't get to see much of me taking it apart, but basically that's it. Put it back together in reverse of how you took it apart. Just be careful as you're working around all those sharp edges. You want to get yourself cut. Okay, I'm inside the car now. After I've got the camera put in, basically it's just a plug and play thing. I'll show you the settings on it. You can go in here to your settings. This is camera settings. It shows you your different enhanced parking aids on, and basically what that is your red, yellow, and green boxes. I've got those on, but I've got my delay off. And the delay is when you put it in from reverse to drive or park, it'll have a couple of seconds delay, and then it'll click over to your main screen. I've turned that off, so go back out. What I'm gonna do now is just put it in reverse, and at times before, when it would mess up, it would look like this. Would zoom in, you couldn't do anything with it. Now I can zoom back out. It wouldn't have the lines. It also would not have the parking aids, the red and yellow and green boxes. And then what would happen was everything would be flipped. For instance, the garbage can that's in the camera here would be over here. The van would be over here. So it would just flip the whole screen around. So that's gone away. So I think I've got it fixed. This was a $80 part off eBay. I would post a link on eBay, but it was one item. So just get on eBay, look around. It cost me $80 new. The Ford dealership wanted to charge me $600 for this. I could see maybe $100 for the camera, maybe $150 for the labor. It took me all of probably 45 minutes to do this. So it's an easy job that you can do at home and not get ripped off. So I appreciate everybody watching the videos. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you got any tips or comments, put them down below. I'd really appreciate it. And y'all have a very blessed day.